Convicted baby killer Genene Jones is about to walk out of prison a free woman. But Texas prosecutors believe she might have been involved in the deaths of dozens more, even though she's never been charged in connection with those deaths. Now, she's about to become the first suspected female serial killer ever to be released from an American prison. Genene Jones was found guilty by a jury of her peers and sentenced to 99 years in prison. It seemed Genene would take her last breath behind bars, and some people hoped she would. But the law that was intended to fight for the tiny victim she tortured had an unbelievable string attached to it, a legal loophole. Why will this monster be set loose? When Jones was convicted of the lethal injection murder of Chelsea McClellan in 1984, Texas law reduced sentences by up to 2/3 to alleviate prison overcrowding. That means Jones will be freed in 2018.
Right now, she's behind bars.
Right.
But maybe not for long.
Probably not for long unless we can find some way for somebody to bring something against her that would keep her there.
Misty KOTHE is the baby who survived Jones's alleged attempt to inject her with a powerful muscle relaxant that causes breathing to stop. She's all grown up and has her own beautiful children.
Do you ever look at your children and say or think, thank God Genene Jones never had a chance to touch these two?
I do. I do. I look at them, and some days you want to wrap them up in bubbles and just not let anybody touch them, because you know what the evil in the world is capable of, because you experienced it firsthand.
Law enforcement in South Texas working feverishly to figure out a way to keep Jones locked up for good.
I'd say she's one of the most cold-blooded, diabolical serial killers in this country's history that, quite frankly, most people never heard of.
That's Andy Cahan, the victim's advocate for the city of Houston. He's joining with prosecutors to stop Jones from getting out.
You think she would kill again?
No doubt in my mind. It's in their DNA. In Texas, where we administer tough justice, where we execute people, how in the world are you going to release a serial killer? It's oxymoronic.
The DA for Kerr County, Scott MONROE, helped put away Jones. He was at his desk when he got the call telling him the release date was set in stone.
So you hang up from that phone call thinking what?
You're kidding me.
MONROE says he thought 99 years meant just that.
99 years was an eternity to all of us at that time. We never thought we'd be seeing the day that she would be walking out.
What would you say to her?
I can't believe you got away with this. When all the dust is settled, you got out of it. You spent 30 years, it should have been 99. I guess maybe you pulled it off.
MONROE is joining forces with his counterpart in San Antonio, Bexar County DA NICO LaHOOD.
I believe justice calls for her to pass away in prison. And so that would be my intent, if we can legally and ethically find a case and the facts support it and the law supports it, that we prosecute her for a case that she has not been prosecuted before.
It may be impossible for these lawmen to prove Jones killed those other children because most of the evidence from the hospital records were shredded some 30 years ago.
Should society be worried?
Sure. But under the Texas Pardons and Parole Board, they can put restrictions on her, obviously.
Restrictions meaning she can no longer be around children.
Absolutely, very heavy restrictions.
Jones, who has 2 children of her own, was an adopted child. Her father ran a night spot called the Kit Kat Club in San Antonio. But there's nothing in her background that might explain why she killed an innocent child. Prosecutors know Genene Jones used a powerful muscle relaxant called succinylcholine to kill. But what could have been her possible motive?
Genene Jones got a lot of excitement out of a child being in a critical situation.
Beatrice Yorker is the Dean of the College of Health and Human Services at Cal State Los Angeles and a renowned expert on nurses who kill. While Yorker has never treated Jones, she says many killer nurses suffer from a mental illness called Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Munchausen syndrome is where you make yourself sick for medical attention. Munchausen syndrome by proxy is instead of making yourself sick, you make a dependent in your care, mainly your child, ill for getting medical attention.
Crime Watch Daily twice reached out to Jones for a comment, writing to her at the state prison, but she never replied. And at the cemetery on a hill, the headstone of little Chelsea McClellan. A grim reminder that while the angel of death may soon get a second chance on earth, Chelsea never had a chance.
Chelsea's up there, she's in heaven, she's leading the charge of all these babies for one more battle, because we've got to protect any future victims. We just do.
Andrea, it's chilling to hear her there described as the angel of death. She's been charged in relation to one death, I understand. So there's a suggestion, though, that she may have been involved in up to 40. Could prosecutors move forward on any of these other charges?
You know, Matt, that is the goal. That is exactly what they want. The problem is, during that time, those hospital records simply don't exist anymore. Right now, we're looking at her being released March 1st of 2018, walking right out of prison.
And it's based on a loophole too. We should say Genene Jones is one of more than 600 mandatory release cases that have drawn some pretty heavy criticism. And right now at our website, we have the story of this Texas man who admitted to killing his stepchildren. Now, Ed Graff is a free man. Our Jason Matera investigates that troubling case at our website, crimewatchdaily.com.